First, you're going to want to head over to the description of this video, and you're going to want to find the link to this model right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to get the model, add it to your inventory. It should say this item is available in your inventory, and then you're going to want to open it in Roblox Studio just like this. So once you open Roblox Studio, you should see these green GUIs, main and workspace. All you're going to want to do is move one of them to starter GUI, and you can delete the other one if you want, or you can just like store it in server storage. I don't know why it's there. But yeah, so this is the UI. You could check it out, you could make it visible. It's gonna look something like this. Alright, now for the actual coding. So we're gonna want to make a module script inside of replicated storage, and we could just call this dialog main for module, and then let's rename module to UI in here. You will see why later. And let's quickly get the player service because we're gonna need it later. Alright, so let's define the main function, which we can just call dialog, and we're gonna have the parameter message. Alright, so real quick, I'm just gonna add some initial flags and then I'll explain them after. Alright, so now that I added the flags, we could go ahead and get the player GUI. I'll do that real quick. You may be wondering what this for loop is for, and so the dialog system I'm creating is going to have an option to create like yes or no options, and it's going to generate buttons from this template right here. And basically what this is doing is it's destroying any buttons that were created from the template the last time the dialog was called, if that makes sense. The next few segments may not make sense right now, but when we do testing, I promise I'll explain it. Just bear with me. Alright, so that's done. I'll explain it more once I get to the client side of things. But for now, just know that we're setting the image to like a picture of an avatar, and we're also setting the name of the speaker. And now we can get started on the actual typewriter effect. Alright, pretty simple. Basically, I just loop through every single character in the string message and then add it on to the text with what is currently in the text plus the character that I'm looping through. And then this right here is just to make the ending not as abrupt when the dialogue is finished. And here this controls how fast the dialogue is being shown, and we can just control it with this variable I set, or you can just set it to a number, but I think having a variable up here is more convenient. And so I guess we can start on the options. Alright, so I've implemented a really simple version of the options, and it's still a bit complex though, so I'll try to explain it as best as I can. So at first we're setting chosen equal to nothing, and then we're creating a text button for each option. So when we pass options into this function over here, it's gonna be a list of strings. Like for example, like the values could be yes, no, maybe, and it's gonna generate a button for each of these options, and then name it. For example, yes, yes, no, no, and then make it visible, and then put it inside this frame right here with the UI list layout. And then there will also be a mouse button click function, which will set this. Oh wait, hold up. How do I gotta add repeat here actually. Repeat test.wait until chosen. And so basically what this does is repeatedly check if a button has been clicked, and it'll know it's been clicked because right now chosen is no, but when chosen is clicked, it's going to be set to a string, and therefore it'll exist, so this repeat will just close. Hope that makes sense. So to use it on the client, I'd recommend using starter player scripts, and we can just get the module real quick. Small replica storage. Alright, so now we can actually say UI dot headshot and then give it an asset ID. Alright, there we go. We could also set the speaker to, let's just say, Bob. And then we can run UI and then the function dialog. And then when this is called, it's automatically gonna pass these variables in self. So self is basically just kind of like a list, and it's gonna have headshot, which will be self.headshot, and then it'll have a value called speaker, which will be you here self.speaker. So this is automatically sent when we call UI dialog, and so we can just input the message here. You could just say subscribe to and let's run it. Oh. Alright, so I was reading over the script and I found a few problems that may affect the code. Right here I forgot to add a wait for title too. And also it could be some problems right here, just make sure. And I forgot to put the text here. So all we really got to do on the client is just send the message. So we'll just say subscribe to the clips. And let's test it. And yeah, it works. Let's test the options real quick. Let's say options equal to... Wait, let me just make sure I called it options. Alright, yeah. Let's set options equal to yes. Wait. Yes. No. Maybe. And then let's call UI dialog. Will you subscribe? And yep, it works. And to real quick test that, you could to get what the user actually put, you could do you could set this equal to local response equals, and then just print it out. And after you use an options like this, if you don't want to have options in your next dialog, you could just set options equal to nil. And then, you know, do it again. You know, if you're gonna click yes, you feel me? And see, it's printed out. So you could do something with this, you know, you could do like, if the user printed yes, if the user selected yes, you can do this and that. If they selected no, you can do something. But yeah, this is a really simple version of a more complex dialogue system I had. So yeah, hope this helps. Peace.